This sucks. Like, this is why Welcome back to EBT Performance, the home of Squids Speed Shop. Today, got a bit of a sad one, at least for this customer. He was out ripping, riding pretty hard, trying to get the front wheel up. Heard an awful noise in the motor. Now it won't start. It's this bike is stock except for the Bassani exhaust. I believe he had it tuned elsewhere. Not a worry. The biggest problem was his riding style, and I have an inkling that the stock compensator has left the chat. So come with me as I get to the bottom of this catastrophe. Here we have the primary oil. I've just drained out, and I don't know if you can see on the camera. We've got a bunch of glitter, and the oil is burnt to hell. It's not looking good. The sump plug has a fair bit of metal on it. And the smell out of the clutch is pretty bad. I'm going to take the primary off. I suspect the compensator is broken into many, many pieces. Let's get into it. Let's assess the damage and see how we're going to rectify it. As suspected, we've got a bunch of debris, a whole bunch of broken chips. And it's hard to tell with the camera. Just trying to give you a good angle. You can see that the teeth for the compensator are not engaged with the other half. So it is cracked and separated. Bunch of little bits have broken off. So now we tear this down and see how much damage this broken compensator has caused. At the minute, it's looking as good as it can be. I've pulled it apart. Compensator is broken into 3 pieces and various shrapnel. The splines that it run on are a bit torn up, but that's not too bad. At the minute, the crankshaft isn't torn up. I still have to check its runout. I can't see a ton of debris taking out the stator. I've still got to pull that rotor off, check inside to see whether or not debris has gotten in between the magnets and the stator and torn that up. The other thing that's been torn up are the pressure plates, and sort of see, sorry, the wear on their contacts. They've roughened up a little bit, so I could do with swapping them out if the customer has the budget for it. So at the minute, I'm going to start cleaning, pull apart the stator and rotor, clean that, check the runout on the crank. By how much damage is done, we're all hoping that the crank runout is good. It doesn't look too bad. I think he might have stopped the bike just in time. It didn't look like the compensator had flexed off and jammed up in a position to torque the crank, but you never know. This sucks. Like, this is why when I'm talking to customers, it's less about how much horsepower your bike makes and how you ride the bike. It's the on-off loading, it's the heavy takeoff that shock loads these compensators, and they are they're very hard. That's the problem. The material is super hard, which means that it is brittle and doesn't like shock loading. For you guys at home, that's what a good one looks like. That's an OEM original compensator. And I probably replace one of these a week. Usually enough. If I'm doing any performance upgrades, it's really easy for a customer to spec up the compensator. Doesn't cost a lot. It's mainly parts is where the cost is, and it's cheap insurance. Because when you start getting into it, if this crank is damaged, the customer's up for a whole lot of money, whether he's seeing me to do the work or seeing anybody else. When the bike's no longer in warranty, the crank's twisted. Cranks are expensive. The labour to tear the motor down to put the new crank in is expensive. And usually when you're in there, well, you balance, weld up the crank, or you put an upgraded crank in there, adding more cost, because that's what we do, isn't it? While you're in there, improve it. You break something, you improve it. And so it adds up really fast and can be a really costly exercise for the sake of replacing the compensator with any of the billet compensators out there. I don't care which brand you go with. Just upgrade it if you plan on riding aggressively. So I've got my dial indicator all set up. The keynotes for how I have my setup, because I'm just using a generic dial holder, generic dial gauge. I essentially put the crankshaft spacers on the crankshaft to allow the dial indicator to roll smoothly. I use the flat jack to stabilize the chassis so that the dial indicator is sort of locked to the chassis, so it's not going to be moving. There's a little bit of flex you can impart on the crankshaft by rotating it at this end. So the trick is to only apply force at 90 degrees to the dial indicator, and that way you don't throw it off in its line, and then just be really gentle with what you're doing. I'm going to try and put the camera in a location where you can see the dial indicator. A little bit tricky. Light's not great, but we'll see what we can see, and I'll run through what I'm doing. So at the minute, I have the dial gauge close to 0. There we go, needle sitting on 0. I'm going to bring the ratchet around. I'm applying load in 90-degree angle to the direction of the dial indicator, and then we gently turn it over. And what I'm looking for it to sweep to its sort of lowest point, its negative point, which at the minute is 2 thou backwards. Yep, and now we're just starting to come back up. I'll rotate the dial indicator again, trying to zero it out. Just makes the mathing easier. 90 degrees, come around, we hit 0, -1, a little bit. And then we get to our high point, 3 thou. Come back down, 3.5 thou. Back down to 0, 3.5. So there we are. Crankshaft is true enough. 3.5 thou, more than acceptable. I've seen them stock with no damage run up to 16 thou. But this is sweet, this is perfect. 3.5 thou, spot on. Now I can just go with repairing the damaged items, cleaning everything thoroughly, and this is as good as it gets for this customer. Happy days. So it's been about a week. I forgot that I was doing a video on this, and so I've already sort of cleaned a bunch of the components, but all of the parts that I had to order to replace it have come in, so I'm putting the compensator back together. So what did we have to replace in the end? Obviously, the compensator. So I've got a billet upgrade one. I don't care which brand you want to go for. Any of them will do the job. That's the original replacement. It comes with these two components. We had to order these. This is the new splines. The old ones were ruined, and the other side of the stock compensator was also ruined because of this thrust bearing, and the surface in here was completely ruined. We also had to replace a compensator spring pack because the wear and tear was too much. While we're in there, the customer has also asked me to upgrade the clutch. So we're going to be putting in the upgraded clutch pack from Screamin as well as the heavy duty springs. That is typically enough for wherever this customer is going to go with the motor and how much power he's going to make. That's going to do him just fine. I've not had a problem with the Screamin clutches up to about 170 horsepower. And as long as you're not running them down a prep track, they're fine. On the road, they're absolutely fine. I usually find that you run into more gearbox issues once you upgrade the clutch past that point anyway. So the Screamin clutch pack with the upgraded springs is going to serve this guy well. Part of doing this repair is thoroughly cleaning the primary. So I've had this all apart. I've made sure that there's no metal inside the stator and rotor. There's no damage in there. Clean this all out. We've got a little bit of damage down here on the case. That's not a big deal. Just as long as it's clean and free of metal. And that's the same thing with all of the components that we're reusing because they're not damaged. They've got to be cleaned thoroughly. You don't want little bits of debris ruining all of the hard work. This customer got lucky. The crank is fine. And I can tell you right now, from what I've seen, the chances of that are pretty damn low. Normally, you take out the crank. The biggest cost in doing this job is the components. The billet compensators aren't cheap, but they are cheap compared to replacing your crank. It's not a time-consuming job, so I don't have to charge a lot of money. There's not much in it for me. The biggest cost is the parts. So if you like riding your bike hard, ripping skids, trying to lift the front wheel, even if your motor's stock. This motor is stock, except for an exhaust and an air cleaner. It's all about how it was ridden. And this was treated rough. I could not recommend more. Upgrading the compensator, and at a minimum, just put some heavy duty springs in. That'll see you through for most applications. So I'll put it on time lapse. I'll put it all back together, and maybe you'll learn something. There you go, guys. A simple upgrade. There's cheap insurance. I hope it was an eye-opener for a lot of yous. Just remember, the bike is stock with an exhaust. If you're going to race people at the lights, put a compensator in it. I'm sorry that I didn't film cleaning the inner primary and having that all apart. I came in on the Saturday to finish this off and I forgot to film. It's that simple. So I apologise for that, guys. Hopefully what you saw was enough and entertaining enough for you. There's some cool things in the works with a couple other friendly shops, maybe a drag racing event. Put in the comments if you'd be keen to show up down at the drag strip here in Victoria and have a rip. Race me, race one of the other boys from one of the other shops, race your mates. We're trying to put something together because I love racing. I don't get as much time to do it as I'd like, and a lot of my friends in the industry are dead keen on it as well. Until next week, like, comment and subscribe. It really does help me out. I appreciate all the kind words, all the customers coming in, telling me what they liked about the video. They were watching this, they were watching that. Man, I love it. It's invigorating. And so thanks for watching. Go check out my Instagram and Facebook page. The links are in the comment section, in the description, however it works on YouTube. Updates on the t-shirts will be there first. So keep an eye on that. We've also got some other secret merch in the works too, but you'll just have to wait to see that. Thanks for watching this week, guys. I'll see you next week.